when it came to healing for my soul and coming in on a challenge, hearing Pastor D for the first time, I was like, whose mom got hooked up with now, you know? But once I joined the challenge for myself,
yeah,
I was like, okay, she's speaking a language that in a way that is really intriguing me, a boldness, just a sense of self that I saw that I can relate.
Hey there, I'm Ari, your petite but powerful Kingdom Teaching professor and entrepreneur. I bring the sass, the laughs, and the serious, let's get real and heal moments without any filters. Now meet my mom, Pastor D, the #1 dunamis woman leading our Healing for My Soul movement. As a Kingdom Teaching pastor and life coach, she is unapologetically real, raw, and radical, but she's our rock and the voice of wisdom that we all need. And then there's Allison, fierce yet tender, and the voice for many single mothers. She's the silent heartbeat of our family and will be the first to tell you, yeah, life with these two can be crazy, but I got their back and we're in this together. As a dynamic trio, we spearhead the Healing for My Soul movement, sharing the miraculous healing power of God through our journey, truths, and a little humor as we guide women to pursue healing as a lifestyle so they may experience freedom within their life and legacy.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Healing for My Soul podcast. I am so excited to be on this episode where you have me solo, but not really. I have like two beautiful women with me. And actually, you're really used to seeing a mother-daughter legacy, but I have another mother-daughter legacy because today we're going to talk about healing the Black legacy. I think as we're staying on the theme of healing the Black church, we already know that in most times when you go to church, we talked about in another episode that it's mothers, right? And they're bringing their children. But what does that really look like to have healing, amongst your legacy? And I'm honored to be here with Pastor Gail and Tonya. Say hello.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yes. And so you guys are mother and daughter. And you all started this healing journey, I don't believe together.
No.
Okay. So who started first?
I started first, 2020.
All right, 2020.
Yes, for Healing for My Soul Challenge.
Okay, so you started first in 2020, your healing journey, but I want you to speak to where were you as a mother when you started your healing journey? Like, what was the state of you and your children? How many children do you have?
I have two.
All right, two daughters, right?
Two daughters.
So what was the state of you as a mother and your daughters when you first started healing?
They always knew I was there for them, and I was pastor mom, and I thought we were good, so I hope we were in a good place. But I know that I needed healing, and I also introduced it to them.
Yeah. Did you ever see your mom thinking like she needed healing, or you just thought she was just good? Like,
that is a good question. I never thought about, Mom, you really need some healing. Because I don't know if you could recognize it if you don't have healing yourself. And so when she just became a pastor altogether, I knew that I wanted to, support her in that. But when she started going deeper in the things that she was experiencing, I never thought, okay, Ma, you really need some healing for your soul. But just knowing that she was going through something, I didn't really understand it, know what it was, but I knew she was going through something. I knew she was growing. And now I'm kind of watching like everybody else what's coming up and out of her.
So I'm going to take you back just a little bit. How old were you when she started pastoring? Were you young or?
So what was it?
It was 1999.
99.
Well, no, 99 when I went into the ministry, but I started pastoring in 2007.
So I was grown.
Okay.
I was married with kids.
Married with kids. All right.
And gosh,
And
I was just so young. I don't even think I was focused on really what she was doing, but I knew that, Mom had some unique experiences in her life.
Yeah.
And I knew she was healing from that. And out of that experience that she had, accepting Christ, becoming into ministry, I figured it probably had to do something with, God calling her to be better and greater. And, but just the things that she didn't talk to us about, those were the things that now I'm starting to see her talk about.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, like that, a lot I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she was experiencing some of the things that she's been going through.
So I'm assuming you introduced Tonya to your healing process.
Yes.
Okay. And why? Like, why? Because that could have been something so sacred that you could have just had for yourself as a woman, as a mother. Why was that important for you to like introduce her to the journey?
Because I wanted her not to be at my age.
Yeah.
Just getting that healing and knowing that I needed that healing. And it was so helpful and insightful and freeing for me, the healing as the process was coming.
Yeah.
I had to share. See, I've never been one of these people that hold on to stuff so sacredly that I can't share, because I'm about everybody being healed, everybody being free.
Okay. So you just were trusting to the whole process.
No.
Tell the truth, shame.
Right. I wasn't trusted to the whole process. If we look at the pastoring piece, or we're looking at
the whole thing.
Okay, so we're looking at the pastoring piece. I saw her as genuine. I knew that for her to pastor, it had to be real, genuine. Mm-hmm. And some of pastors I questioned, because I grew up in a family of pastors. I saw some things I probably didn't need to see or know. But with Mom, I knew her heart.
Yeah.
I knew that piece of her. And so I trusted the journey that she was going on towards becoming a pastor.
Yeah.
And then wanting to support her in that, because I saw the realness, but I also saw how she had to maneuver through such a male-dominated area. But when it came to healing for my soul and coming in on a challenge, hearing Pastor D for the first time, I was like, whose Mom got hooked up with now, but once I joined the challenge for myself, I was like, okay, she's speaking a language that in a way that's really intriguing me, a boldness, just a sense of self that I saw that I can relate.
Yeah. Hey, sis. So I know you're listening to this powerful episode, but let me tell you, there are so many other women that you need to connect with. And this is why I want to invite you to join our Healing for My Soul community. Yes, other women who are on this healing journey that you can be able to learn from, grow from, share your wounds with, share your wins with as you're on your healing journey. So connect to our community just by texting podcast. That's PODCAST, text podcast to 404-737-0580 and get connected with us, and you'll get all the information on how to join our community. Again, that's podcast at 404-737-0580. Now let's get back to the episode. And you said a key thing though, getting the healing I needed for myself. Because I think when it comes to healing the Black legacy and just legacy in general, as mothers, naturally, I think you all want the best for your children, right? You want the best for your daughters. And we just kind of like string along because, hey, well, Mama said that's just what it's going to be, you know? And I think that there's a difference now of making a decision of saying like, this is something I need for myself, right? And so that's even something that my mom even stresses to my sister and myself. Like, you could think just being associated that I'm getting the healing, being associated with you being a pastor, being associated with, my mom having this platform, that I'm good, and I have to tell Allison, I have to tell Genesis, my niece, that like, just because you're associated does not mean you're actually receiving what you need for yourself, like as an individual. And I think that we could easily put on a mask make everyone believe that, even with men. You know, I know for me, I'm unmarried, and so you could be like, well, my mom's a pastor, she helps me heal. So you know, I'm probably like as good as sliced bread.
I don't get that. I get you should be because your mom is a pastor,
right? But you can put on the persona,
right?
And you can put a mask to make someone believe that you're good because you're hiding behind the process that someone else is doing.
Yeah.
Failing to realize that you actually have to make that take that process yourself.
Yeah.
And so you saying that, like, I had to do this for myself. What was it that you had to really face head on? I don't know what challenge you came in, but what was it that you were saying as a woman, I need to face this area of my life? I'm a wife, I'm a mother. What was the first thing that you knew you need to deal with?
I needed to deal with myself and the issues that were coming up in my life. Currently married for 28 years. Mm-hmm. I have 2 adult children and a teenager. Figuring out who I am in the midst of that, not even realizing I didn't know who I was until going through some of those challenges, and I had a false sense of self.
Yeah.
I thought the husband, the children, the nice home, those things were my identifiers or my worth, but really I'm more valuable than those things.
Yeah.
And so coming out of agreement with some of those narratives that I had in my mind, that's been a big challenge.
Yeah.
And Mom said something about, talking. We've always been close, but I don't think that I always understood her fight as a woman and the experiences she was going through. And so as I was getting older, I might ask her a question like, is it going to always be like this? Is this what it's supposed to be like? Where does my responsibility end? And I just didn't know. And we didn't. I saw how to be a woman just by watching her, watching my grandmother, and just doing those same repeated habits and things that I thought was what I was supposed to do. But I was getting lost in it. And so the journey for myself is, number one, identifying just who the core I am outside of the roles that I take.
Yeah. Now, my mom always says, you have 2 daughters just like she has 2 daughters, right? And she always compares me and Tonya and then your other daughter to like Allison, right? Yeah. And I don't know if you would consider you and your sister like oil and water. Are y'all different, or would y'all think you're very similar?
I think we're different.
In your own unique ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when you think about, I want to talk about legacy because it's not always just like one child.
Yes.
Right? When we got many viewers out here and they got multiple children, multiple probably baby daddies with the children, right? Like, so as you're healing and growing as a woman, you often want your children to kind of come on board, but then they are battling their own different things that is happening. Speak to that based upon a mother's standpoint, because every child is different, right? And so what is that like, when you're necessarily seeing the differences? And I don't know what your other daughter's life journey is like, but when you see the differences of your children, and now you got to tend to them as a adult woman differently based upon what you're receiving and healing.
Yes, absolutely. So Tonya has always been, first the oldest, and the one that, for some reason, the oldest think that y'all have to be just perfect in our eyesight.
Well, I'm the youngest,
and all they think about you, the youngest, And with the younger one, they seem to have this freedom or whatever, and do whatever they want to do and things like that. But Tonya's always been a responsible one. Crystal's responsible to a certain degree, but still a sense of responsibility. Yeah. So it was whoever needed me the most at that time, but her healing is coming. Yeah. And Tonya has always been on point, being the mother, but she would always say, it's got to be more to it than this.
Yeah.
And I introduced the healing to her because I can see the woman in her. And she was being overwhelmed And I can't force. I don't force it. I share it, and then I walk away.
Yeah.
And I share it, and I walk away.
Because it got to be more to it than this. You're
Yes.
talking about the duties, the roles,
Yes.
just waking up, being a mom, a
Yes.
wife. And it's like, this ain't what I signed up for.
Well, like Mama said, I've always had a sense of responsibility. So they were my kids. I was going to take care of them, doing what I thought I was supposed to do. But in the midst of it, even though there's joy there, there was joy there. But it was just, is this all that I knew? It felt like there was something more. But is this really it? I didn't really.
You didn't think there was more. But now that you know that there is something more, right? I want to speak to what does that look like for you now going on your healing journey as a mother?
Yeah.
And you didn't know certain parts of the woman and your mom, and now your children may not know all certain parts of you, and you have a daughter.
Yeah.
Right. So what does that look like now that you embarked into the space of, okay, there is something more and I'm seeking it out and I'm learning. How do you look at your children differently? Do you look at them differently? Like what goes on through your process as a mom now?
Hey, we know that you are doing some amazing processes of healing, but we want to invite you to draw closer into our Dunamis Women University. That is the place to be, to really dig deeper and to discover who you are as the woman and go through a journey of your healing. Ma, would you have something to speak about, DW?
You know what? The healing power of God is all at work in Dunamis Women University. That's where you do the work. That's why we call it a university, because we can talk all day long. We can tell about this, tell about that. But now it's time for you to do the work. Dunamis Women University is there to take you to another level, but most of all, for God to go deeper within your heart, your mind, and your soul.
Yes, so the doors are open. Just go to www.dunamiswomenuniversity.com and enroll today and start the transformation that you need.
I think as a mom, I've always tried to raise them to be independent and not allow my fears to hold them back, right? So I had to have courage there to kind of let them be free. But as they have aged, gotten older, my daughter's 26 now, my son, oldest son is 23, and then I have a 15-year-old son. So they would probably say that I'm different, from mother of the older two than my son now. My daughter and I have gotten a much tighter relationship, and she really is excited for me to go and get the things for myself. And I'm also encouraging her to find it. Some things I see in her, she's not ready maybe to fully go on maybe the journey like I am now. But in a time, she will be.
Yeah.
Because in a time,
it
happened to me.
Yeah.
With my sons, I don't really know because we don't talk about healing in that way with my sons. With my daughter, we can talk about all those things. With my sons, not so much. But how I govern myself with them is trying not to overcompensate, knowing that I'm going to be the first example of a woman, and trying to conduct myself accordingly so they'll have a good image. So I'm not causing them any damage because of my damages.
Yeah, yeah. When you all hear healing the Black legacy, and you have children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren.
No, great-grandchildren.
Okay, children, grandchildren. When you hear healing the Black legacy, what does that look like for you? What comes to mind? If you could explain it.
If I can explain it, what comes to mind is seeing them healthy, seeing them free in their mind, seeing them not looking at, oh, it's the color of my skin, why I can't do it, but just seeing them know that they can accomplish anything that they put their mind to, and teach them financial security, teach them healthy mind and healthy thoughts, and to just let them see them. First of all, introduce them to Christ. That's the first thing. And I believe I've done that with all of them. And yeah, so that's what I see. I see them healing. I see teaching them how to grow to be the great women that they are, and that the men know who they are, that they are kings and they're queens, and that they don't have to, think less of themselves, but mental healing, mental health, physical health. That's what I see as legacy, because so many of our Black men and women are dying prematurely because of health issues and things. So just seeing that, healing that legacy from the inside outside.
Yeah. I think one of the big things of that perspective, though, is that you got to also see the damages.
Yeah.
I think so many people don't even want to acknowledge the damages within their legacy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you look at, especially for those who you're pushing them for education, the accolades, they're going off and they're getting their degrees. And so as mama, big mama, you just proud, you know what I'm saying? And you really think that some of those things aren't going to come up and out at some point, or that the enemy can't play on some of the silent things that haven't been said, because they're doing the right thing, right?
I say them though.
What'd you say?
You got to say them. You got to call it out. You know? And I think that's a big part of
And
healing.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with calling it out. I think in order to heal the Black legacy, you got to call it out.
Yeah.
My mother called it out with me, and she would say to Allison, she said, it's more of you in this world than it is her little tiny little black ass over there. You know what I'm saying? Because the world would make me feel like I'm the normal, right? I'm the one that's having all the praise. I'm the one that's doing all the stuff. And she would tell me, keep a living. Because you're going to have a hard ass fall real quick.
Yeah.
Because everybody who come up really high and they get the business, they get all this different stuff, and she has to humble me.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thank God for her humbling me in that area, because many mothers and many grandmothers are not, I'm just talking about my generation, are not humbling their legacy because they just think that, oh, they're doing it right and they're just repeating a different cycle. I mean, they're doing a different cycle and they don't see the damages. It's like they're blind to what I'm just speaking for my generation is doing. And so big mama, grandmama, mother, they don't call it out.
Oh, I call it out.
It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong as an individual, I think, as a young woman, but it is okay to call it out.
To show them.
That,
To show them. You're not all that.
Exactly.
And that's what I say sometimes.
Yeah, because you're at any moment, like you were saying, Tonya, the children get older, you get married, you're going through processes, life is still going to hit at some point.
Yeah.
It's still going to be a wake-up call where it's like, there got to be something more than this. And if you don't introduce healing, and you just imagine if you were in that moment and you're like, it got to be something more than this, and you didn't have your mother.
Yeah.
Where would you be?
I've thought about that, because it's so easily and quick to pick up the phone. And the natural order of things, I, of course, are going to expect that one day I'm not going to be with her. And I don't want to think about it. But I know that what she's put in me, I know our relationship, I don't have to question or second guess anything, no regrets. I wouldn't want to, but I know that I would probably be strong enough to be able to carry on her legacy of family, of love, and just as she always says, be you, boo. And that's what I'm trying to do, be me. And not something that the world or religion says I have to be.
Hey, I got a question for you. Have you ever been a part of one of our Healing for My Soul challenges? Well, we have so many women who've been there 1 time, 2 times, 14 times, all kinds of times, but it's nothing like being there with you. So if you have never experienced one of our Healing for My Soul challenges that we have 3 days, 5 days, deep topics that go deep within our soul so we can deal with the unresolved conflicts, go to the website right now and you're going to be a part of this Healing for My Soul movement. movement by joining us on one of our challenges, www.healingformysoulpodcast.com. I can't wait to see you there. All right? Now let's get back to this episode.
Now, what does healing the Black legacy mean for you? And I want to challenge you to think from the perspective of a mother with sons.
For me, family has always been a big part of who we are. And that even comes from my grandma, you know, with 8 children, the Sunday dinners, you know, the traditional things. Church was always the center of it. And as I go through healing and I think about my sons, I think of them being leaders in their community, but most of all, being men who know who they are. Being able to be men who, if they want to, will be great husbands, that will be great fathers and really pour into their children, like my husband has tried to do to them, but even on a greater level. And be able to just own who they are and know themselves so they won't get lost in the hype of what, you know, the world says men need to be, have to be. And my part in it is just, one, to show them what authentic love is, to show them what acceptance is, to show them, even as their mom, to give them some level of respect to where I don't want just my plan for them, but I truly want to lead them to Christ and say, follow what God's plan is, even if it doesn't fit what maybe me or my husband might say we want for them.
Yeah. One thing I learned in this process, and you all know I don't have children, but I would always hear my mom say this, and it's something that I will always keep in the back of my mind when I do have children. But she says, you love your children, but the enemy hates them. And when I think about healing the Black legacy, I think about always keeping in mind, not in fear, but in a place of ready to fight and combat the enemy, that he hates my children. And as much as I love them, he's trying to find every way to destroy them. And I always have to be on guard, not from a protective standpoint, but spiritually on guard. To not ever let my guard down, to think that the enemy is going to play it safe with my children, with my legacy.
Absolutely.
And so when I hear that, I always hear, whether that's with sons, whether that's with men, no matter how much things take place, the enemy is always looking for a way in. And I remember, you know, this being so profound when I was mentoring and I was at the school and I was working with, it was like assembly of teens. And I remember there was one man that was there, this young man, he had so much anger. And I told him to put on these boxing gloves, and I was like, we're gonna box this thing out. And he had such anger with his father, as many of our young Black men do. And the mother kicked him out. It had to be probably in 7th grade or 6th grade, went to go live with the grandmother. So the mother didn't, you know, want to deal with his anger. And I remember he just saying, like, I'm so angry. And I let him box all of it out. But as he broke down in my arms and he was crying, and I whispered in his ear and I said, you have to love the father, but forgive the man. Because all of this stuff that is coming up out of you, the enemy is playing on this seed of hating the father, hating the man, your mother kicking you out, like playing on that seed that can take him all the way to adult years. And for me at that moment, even though he may be 6th, 7th grade, I'm seeing him at 40.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing him at 50. I'm seeing how that one little seed of not feeling wanted and unloved is going to continue on. And it grieved me that his mother couldn't even see it. It grieved me that his father couldn't even see it, right? And so I think that when you start seeing those things, that's very important. And you got to see it. You know what I mean?
And they have to show, and you have to show them that you genuinely care. If he didn't think that you genuinely cared for him, it may have been something totally different. But you saw his soul
Yeah.
You saw him, and we have to see that with our kids. No matter how much we love them, no matter, we have to see where the enemy is coming in and be ready to take a look at that, to turn it around, to speak life, to love on them and things like that, because shit is happening in the world for our young people every day.
Yeah. Before we close, I'll put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
But I want you to look at your mother. And I want you to say whatever words you want to say to her based upon her obedience, based upon her being willing to pursue healing. What has that done for you as a daughter? Whatever you want to say to her.
Oh, man. Ariel. Okay. Mom, I want you to know that there has never been a time that you have not made me feel love, even through your pain. I'm very proud of you for taking this journey and having the courage to write your truth and to speak your truth, no matter what anybody says. Because sometimes it seems as if you have been fighting by yourself as that young girl. And you're not alone. There's nothing that you will ever say in your journey that will make me less proud of you. If anything, it gives me more strength to continue to seek my own truth and to face some of the things that I have to face, because it's easy to cover them up. But when I see you, who's always been my example as a woman, standing up for yourself and taking those steps and being a pioneer, at least in our family, it makes me very proud. And yeah, keep doing it. Okay. We love you.
I think everyone out there is probably grabbing the tissues for the waterworks. But as she said, keep doing it. Keep fighting for your legacy. Keep healing your legacy. Keep pressing forward. This is not going to be the last time you hear of this dynamic duo and trio, even though her other daughter is in here. But there's more to come, because we are making a stance and we are standing firm on this Healing for My Soul movement, that it's not just about us, but it's about our legacy. I thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you on another episode of the Healing for My Soul podcast.